Hello, everyone. It is me. I'm a nerd politics, also known as Colson Kaufman, and this is a projection, my own video projection on the 2024 debate. I'm gonna use some of the stats, but really, this is all coming from just how the debate worked out, how post debate, how it's going, and how I think the November election is going to really turn good for Trump here. I still have Robert F. Kennedy here. He is still this biggest independent candidate since Ross Perot, and he does have influence on this election, mostly to help Trump. But here's some little things we have to address. Donald Trump doesn't have a vice president yet, has not addressed one. He said he would have a vice president come forward to when a debate happens with the vice presidents, and that's going to be a very strange one, may I add, because if continuing forward with the second debate or third debate with the presidential election here, I'd like to see RFK Jr. get on stage, and I'd like to see RF Kennedy Jr.'s vice president go up against Kamala Harris, as well as Donald Trump seeking in potential to have a vice president of his own by that timeline. I don't know if he will. It's just speculation at this point, but I'd like to see it. Number two, Joe Biden. It's scary for the Democrats because Joe Biden is refusing to step down, as told by his team on the Democratic Party. And frankly, there is just not enough time for Joe Biden to step down and have someone like Kamala Harris, Gavin Newsom, or Dean Phillips taken for that place. So, come these next two debates, it really comes down to who's going to win between Donald Trump and RFK Jr. here. And number three is that RFK Jr., if he wants to make a stance, like I addressed earlier, if he wants to make a stance into getting anything that is more than the popular vote and is possibly the electoral vote or is possibly better in the popular vote, he needs to get into these elections. His response video for the post debate was traumatic, and it really didn't help his, in my opinion, it didn't really help his numbers. His idea of fighting back and battling before doing his own version of a live real debate where he had played the CNN debate, and then paused in between and did his parts, which, sure, that's cool and all, but it doesn't really fit the narrative. I could do that myself, right? Like, it doesn't really fix much. It doesn't really do much, and it doesn't help in the polling. And the thing is that RFK Jr., you need to step in with these presidential candidates and at least show something, anything that is generally better than Biden's comparability to speak and put two sentences together and show effort to say why Trump is in the wrong, and by making and addressing a video about why you're the Holy Spirit and why you have to be voted because of that, it doesn't show that. And making a video of yourself live or pre-mired to watch a video of the live debate, post the debate so you know the questions even further in advance to research and have more absence about, it doesn't help your case, so you need to make it stronger. And for any other third-party candidates, such as Cornel West, you're in the loss. There's no way anyone can help you, and it sucks to suck. So here's how I see it. Donald Trump, I'm going to start with Donald Trump. He has an easy win in the West here. Most of these states are more than guaranteeingly going to vote for Donald Trump. Don't argue it. It's just the truth. It is. Iowa, simply easy. He won so many in the primaries. Sorry, I am struggling with English. He done so well in the premier before the national debate here, And in the South, he's doing just incredible. No argument there. Um, in Alaska, I'd say it's easy to say he's got that down. Come with Texas. I think Texas is going to be this ultimate Republican state, like it was in 2016. Um, where at the beginning of the debate, it was more of a lean state. I do think at the end of this election, it will be a full Republican state. I could say the same thing with Florida. I think Florida has gone away from its days of being a swing state, and Donald Trump has opened the doors more to African American voters, which has allowed him to have great ability to win these states. Really, I do think so. I think the same way with Ohio, with its African American um, populace there, and also as Indiana. So that already gives a 218 right here. I think Joe Biden, his strong states is California. California is like the strongest blue state, similarly to Donald Trump's strongest state being Florida here. I do believe that California will be a Democratic state here. I can also say that Oregon and Washington will most likely be Democratic states here. I will say respectfully, New York will be a lenient Democratic state. I know that Donald Trump's from there, and that's not the reason that he's going to pick up more there. I think Biden leans more in New York only because some voters are willing to see after this debate that it was a dumpster fire and it was a nightmare and a tragedy. So obviously, I have to look at it from that perspective. Illinois, I'd also say is, leaning more Democrat. It's always been a more very Democratic state, but a lot of Biden supporters, white, black, Hispanic, Asian, etc., Muslim, they've all lost more support over him after this debate, and especially over these last 4 years. I think that's just very clear as it is. I think Hawaii will be a Democratic state, and I think Colorado will be a Democratic state, come to no surprise with its rise to LGBTQ voters voting for Biden because he stands strong in that category. The next one I want to talk about in Donald Trump is Georgia. I think it's going to be a very leaning state. He obviously won this first debate in Georgia 67 to 33. I would say probably 80 to 20 more if it were me. But of course, based off of the coming up debate at the moment, I think Georgia will be a leaning Republican state here. I say the same thing with North Carolina. North Carolina voters, I think they're sick of it. They're like, let's go back together, South Carolina. Let's go back together. I think we can make a great team. I think we really can. In Pennsylvania, a lot of the stats show that it is a neck and neck kind of thing here, but I still think with the rise in popularity with African American voters and Hispanic voters and many other of race colored people, they're starting to realize this is a problem, that Joe Biden is not capable of holding this job, not capable of making our nation stronger and making our military stronger, or anyone else stronger, or making ability to the younger people of the new generation to stand forward and create a better United States. Joe Biden cannot lead us in that future, and Pennsylvania is one of those states that I believe is on board to change, and they've done it before with Trump. So I definitely do have belief in that. And I say the same thing here with Michigan. Again, it's come down to the state of rise in likability from the African American voters. And it's not just the polls that say it. Even if it's my own opinion, and the polls do say so too, I still think Trump still gains and wins this state by 1 or 2 points, similarly to Pennsylvania. In Wisconsin, a lot of this, I'd say it's more guaranteed that Trump wins in Wisconsin. You can take my word or not, But Wisconsin, as small as the state is, it's not very divided as it used to be. There's not very many Democrats in Wisconsin as there once at one time was. And the state has had a love for Trump in 2016, not so much in 2020, but 2020 was, a combative year. There was a lot of problems. Roe v. Wade was a problem. LGBTQ coming on its strong forth, becoming a problem amongst people in society, and BLM obviously having a huge impact on this election. And now you see this uno reverse of, well, this is karma for the Democrats. You picked these things. You picked up on what he was thinking he was going to do, and he never did it. And he, in fact, made it worse on the civilians of the United States, and he made it worse on even the people here, civilians, and even illegals here, made it worse for it. And now these blue wall states, they're just saying, I don't want anything to do with it. I really don't. And I think Wisconsin is going to be one of these Republican states that gets Donald Trump's vote by easily 3 or 4 points here. I say the same with Nevada, and I say the same with Arizona. I think, especially down where the border is in Arizona and New Mexico, I think in Arizona, and same thing with Georgia, but Georgia's a little bit different. The debate happened there, so they've been able to watch it up close. But in Arizona, though there is a large amount of illegals coming into this country, um, Arizona still stands strong, I believe, with Trump come the end of this election and at the election itself, or even in these next few debates. I think that Arizona has just said, you know what, screw this guy. And Nevada and Arizona, there's a huge tax tariff that Trump wants that allows for higher tips in these states, which then allows for people to make more money, to have livable costs. And Nevada and Arizona, a lot of those states will love that. Come the rest of the United States should love it as well. I think Joe Biden still has a chance here in New Mexico, um, like a leaning Democrat. I think that's just kind of as is. I say a lot of these states here are definitely Democrat. Come to no surprise. Um, I still think maybe at the end of this, Maine is won by 1 or 2 points by um, Joe Biden, but it's still not significant. Not significant enough for me to see. Joe Biden obviously takes DC without question. I still think Donald Trump wins pretty much the entirety of Nebraska here, just because of the Roe v. Wade thing that was very big in Nebraska, but still turned out, for sure. I recent post debate, New Hampshire has gone up 2 points for Donald Trump, and I think it's going to come to this, that at the end of this debate, Trump narrowly by 1 point wins New Hampshire. Come to no surprise, this is a swing state. It's been like this back and forth for a long time. It doesn't really help Joe Biden in this sense of how I see it, because Trump is 317 and 184. RFK, it's so unknown. I think it's going to be like Ross Perot. He's going to help Trump with the popular votes, but he's not going to win in the electoral votes. That's just how I have to look at it. And Donald Trump, I do think that by maybe a point, a percentage, that Minnesota, the state that hasn't been a Republican state since 1972, could be Republican. I'm not saying it will be. I'm just saying, based on what the numbers have to say, being he is led up by 0.5 at the moment in the state, said by the Washington Post. I do think that maybe there is a chance here, but we just have to see what happens at the given day and point, or the next two debates from this point on. And we have two states left. We have New Jersey and we have Virginia. I did see that New Jersey did go more Republican, but I still think at come the end of this debate that New Jersey is won by 2 points at the maximum for Joe Biden. So, there's just that little bit here. And Virginia is currently tied amongst Joe Biden and Donald Trump. It's very unknown. From the polls, it's just not known. But if I had to go with my gut here, I'd say Joe Biden ever so slightly, just because of the North side being so Democratic. I do think that Virginia is won by Joe Biden by a point or two, possibly 2.5. But as my stance on the election goes come 2024, it will be a 327 to 211. Donald Trump doesn't landslide this election, but is projected to still win. No matter if it's the votes, no matter if it's my own opinion, I still think he wins. But that is up for you all. For those 18 and older, make a vote today and vote for the right people. Research everything there is. Do not go out and vote for random people's names. Always do your research, because if you don't do the research, you do not know what you're signing up for. If you don't read the contract, then you are not going to make it far. Always keep the logical part with you. So, vote now in person or online. I do it in person. Vote online. Do it in person. I'd rather you did it in person anyways. Vote now. Or vote when the time comes to it, because this is going to be such a cluster no matter who votes, who's getting voted for, or who wins. It's really up to Americans right now, as we the people. But that is all I have to say, and I'll see you all in the next political video. Peace out, guys.